over there. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
Senator
making
Rosen,
stuff up.
he has the floor.
I know your staff wrote up this cute statement for your TikTok video, but it's not true, and it's not real. That's not what happened. Okay? I'm the National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. I was co-located with the President in the midst of a high-stakes negotiation so that
You just watched Marco Rubio look a sitting U.S. senator in the face and call her oversight a cute statement for your TikTok video. That is the tell, because when an administration treats Congress like a comment section, they're not trying to answer you. They're trying to manage you. Hey y'all, welcome in. How are you doing today? This is Saha Explains. Tap like, drop your take in the comments, and subscribe, because the full exchange makes it even clearer. Rosen is asking basic accountability questions, and Rubio's response is to throw a tantrum and turn it into a viral performance. Now watch how this starts.
So, Secretary Rubio, during your confirmation and budget hearings last year, you committed to me you would support women and girls programming at the State Department. But under your leadership, you've terminated dozens of awards supporting women and girls. You shuttered the Office of Global Women's Issues, GWE. You fired the entire staff. You said repeatedly that regional bureaus will now be responsible for programs to support women and girls. But my staff has asked every single regional bureau if they have a plan to do this, and not a single bureau can provide me with an answer. And so, Secretary Rubio, I'm just so disappointed. I want to believe that, you didn't lie to us, lie to me, and so I want to give you an opportunity to explain how women's issues have been integrated into
well,
the
I don't know.
bureaus.
That's not a gotcha. That's not slander. That's a senator doing the job. You closed an office, you moved responsibilities around, so who owns it now? And where's the plan? And watch Rubio's move here. Instead of giving one clear point of contact, one named lead, one document, he goes straight into nope. That's not accurate, and tries to make the question itself the problem.
We have an outline.
I don't know who's telling you that at the regional bureaus, because that's not accurate. Now some regional bureaus have a larger mandate on women's issues than others. As you example, like in Europe, it's probably less intense
Can you tell
than
me
in Africa.
who on your team we can reach out to then to find out? Because we're not getting, they're telling us they don't know.
Well, the regional bureaus tell you they don't know.
That's
Not only
correct.
does every regional bureau have someone in charge of women's issues, or at least in charge of that portfolio, but most of our embassies, especially in some of these key places, are advocating
follow up,
this.
and can I call you
Yeah,
and
of
have
course.
a conversation, because somehow there's a communication?
Yeah, because we didn't eliminate the program. We simply felt that there's a difference between the women's issues, for example, that you would face in Africa versus what you may be facing in some part of
Could you name a single
Asia.
new program that you've stood up in the last since the GWE office was closed? Do you know of any?
First of all, almost every single one of our programs that we do now, our humanitarian response to crisis, our food programs that we distributed, all of them have a women's component to it.
So-
primarily because in these societies, women are the first ones affected.
Please, so we can get some clarification.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
See the pivot? Rosen asks for a specific new program. Rubio answers with everything has a component. That's not an answer. That's fog. And the reason this matters is simple. When you dissolve an office and scatter responsibility, trust me is not a plan. Names, structure, accountability. Now watch what happens when Rosen tests something even more basic, whether Rubio will commit to maintaining a flagship program.
There is a International Women of Courage program. You and the First Lady have championed. Are you going to commit to maintaining that?
The which one, I'm sorry?
The Women of Courage program. You and the First Lady have championed that.
Yeah, well, we had an award ceremony last year.
So
I don't know if one is scheduled for this year yet.
That right there is why oversight exists. If you're the Secretary of State, and you're not even sure if a signature program is happening this year, you don't get to act offended when Congress asks who's driving women's issues across the department. And then Rosen pivots to something else, less about vibes, more about constitutional roles. Who represents the U.S. abroad, and whether the Senate's confirmation power means anything. Watch how fast this turns into a personal insult festival.
thank you. With the remainder of my time, I'd like to remind the American people that as the Secretary of State, your main duty as America's chief diplomat is to maintain our relations with foreign nations. This is why I was shocked to see that you were at a party with President Trump in Miami instead of accompanying Vice President Vance to Pakistan for negotiations.
What party was I at? I was at a party?
It's publicly reported, and there's photos there.
But
In
what
fact,
party?
Steve
No,
Witkoff
but you're going to
and
say that. I'm
Jared
going to answer it. I'm going to answer that
But let me
question, because
finish
that's an
my
absurd statement. I was not at a
If I
party.
finish my paragraph,
All right.
he can answer.
Because people are going to
In fact,
slander me. I'm going to answer
Steve
it.
Witkoff.
Here's what Rubio wants. A side fight about the word party, so nobody notices the underlying issue. Rosen is pointing at who's on these negotiations, who's empowered, and why Congress keeps getting treated like background noise. And the moment the chair tries to move on, Rubio doesn't just answer, he goes for domination. Watch the posture, watch the disrespect.
So, Mr. Secretary, Congress represents the American people. We have the power to confirm who represents America abroad. We confirmed you to be our Secretary of State. We confirmed you to be in the negotiations that are happening. And it's just unthinkable to me that you are not, you are missing high-stakes negotiations or that you're not involved.
Ridiculous.
It's sad.
Senator Rosen, your
Thank you.
time's up.
Yield back.
But
so let me
Senator, Secretary Rubio.
You're
should have the
100%
opportunity to
inaccurate and
reply.
100% wrong. Here's why. Number one, the Vice President of the United States was there, and he wasn't confirmed by the Senate. He was elected by the American people. Okay? He is the second in line of the presidency of the United States. He was present. Mr. Witkoff is the president's envoy for negotiation for peace deals. Mr. Kushner is a private citizen that serves as an advisor on these functions. They were the team that we sent to Pakistan. I was not at a party. Where I was is next to the president. Because in the midst of those negotiations, I was in communications with them. And in fact, I think there is media reporting from that evening on how on multiple occasions I went into a back room, I came back out and spoke to the president and was constantly updating him. On that evening, I spoke to Mr. Kushner and our negotiating team and Mr. Witkoff on at least 6 occasions, including twice on a secure line from the phone they had access to over there. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
Senator
making
Rosen,
stuff up.
he has the floor.
I know your
please.
staff wrote up this cute statement for your TikTok video, but it's not true, and it's not real. That's not what happened. Okay? I'm the National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. I was co-located with the President in the midst of a high-stakes negotiation so that I could immediately inform him about events occurring halfway around the world. I was where I needed to be at that moment because we had a very capable team on the ground in Pakistan led by the Vice President. Led by the Vice President of the United States.
That's the whole game right there. Sen. Jackie Rosen asks for a plan, a point of contact, a concrete program, and clarity on who's representing America, and Marco Rubio's closer isn't transparency, it's contempt. Cute statement for your TikTok video. And if you're wondering why people don't trust what they're hearing anymore, it's because accountability gets treated like an annoyance until it gets treated like an enemy. Drop your take. Should the Secretary of State be able to wave off oversight like that, or should Congress start demanding names, documents, and timelines on the record? Hit like, subscribe to Saha Explains, and I'll see you in the next one.